So all we'll do now, lads, is just go through the understanding of how you calculate pips, because pips are what we use in terms of making profits in the market, or what we count to determine how much profit we're gonna make. But in simple terms, 10 pips equates to the equivalent of $1 in market movement. So if the market price was to move from 2000 to 1999, that would be a $1 price move, but that equates to 10 pips. And the reason that comes important is because we just use the term pips when we're talking about the market moving and taking profits and setting stop loss and target points and so on. So, and then obviously common sense then moving forward, if 10 pips is $1, 20 pips is $2 and so on in terms of the market movement. So that's just something to wrap your head around when you get started, because also understanding how many pips you're going to risk per trade will determine what lot size you're going to use when you start taking trades. So again, lot sizes at the moment, if you're brand new, will be you'll be unfamiliar with it. But if you open your MetaTrader 5 app now while I'm talking, if you go on your MetaTrader 5, let me just talk myself through it while I'm doing it and look at my phone. So go to your MetaTrader 5, click on, you can click on quotes. Or in fact, the next thing you need to do actually, Max, is you need to go onto your MetaTrader 5, click onto quotes, and you're going to see all these currency pairs. I want you to click the pencil icon, which is going to then give you the opportunity to select all those pairs, and you're going to delete every single one that you see on your screen. And then you're going to search for XAU USD, because that is the only currency pair that we're going to be using. So select it and then just go back out, and you should then see that on your quotes. And then if you click on the currency pair XAU USD and press trade, you're now going to see something in the center of your screen at the top. You've got 5 lots of digits. You've got 0.5, 0.1. In the middle in black, you'll have maybe 0.01 or whatever it's set at, but that is your lot size. Now, 0.01 means that you are risking 10 cents per pip. So, in other words, you are risking $1 every time the price moves $1. So 0.01 means if price in the market moves up or down $1, depending if we're buying or selling, means you're going to profit $1 or lose $1 on a 0.01 lot size. Now, if we look at it from this standpoint, 50 pips on a 0.01 equates to $5 risk. Now, the reason 50 pips is in this slide and 100 pips is in this slide is because typically our stop losses, what the traders give us, the stop losses vary between 50 to 100 pips. So if you're risking a 0.01 on your lot size on the trading app, if the stop loss is going to be 50 pips, you know that you can potentially lose $5. So understanding the lot size and the pip amount is paramount to where you're going to go with this. If you're going to get a full understanding of what you're risking per trade. And ultimately, we need to know what we're risking per trade so that then we can apply some rules, which I'll come to as I move through this slide presentation. So 0.01 at 100 pip stop loss would mean you'd be risking $10 on that particular trade. Now, if we just take it back a slide, so if the market was to move $1 in price, equating to 10 pips, then it'd be $1. I don't know, I don't want to lose you here. Let's use the 50 pips. If price was to move $5 in price of the value of gold, that would be 50 pips. So you'd be risking $5 on the 0.01. I want to try and explain this as clearly as I can, because once you wrap your head around this part of trading, then there's no reason why you should be busting accounts unless you start fucking gambling and going rogue. So a few coughing in the background there. I wonder why that might be. We've all done it though. Hands up, we've all done it in the past. 0.02 just means that you're then going to risk 20 cents per pip, which on a 50 pip stop loss would equate to $10. So, like I said, once you get your head around this equation of pips and lot sizes, that's going to put you in a better position to understand your risk every time you're taking a trade. I've done a couple of compound calculators here because I want you to wrap your head around this as well from a mindset standpoint with the trading and how it would look from a hypothetical standpoint if you were to compound a certain amount of money over a certain amount of trading days. Now, bear in mind we only have 5 trading days per week. The market's open Sunday evening, 10 p.m. and the close on Friday evening at 10 p.m. So we've got pretty much all day Monday all through all day Friday. So if we were to compound a £500 account over a 60-day trading period, which is around about 3 months, just looking to accumulate 2% per day, then that £500 by the time you got to day 60 would be over 1,600 quid. This is hypothetical. This is not saying if you do this, this is what's going to happen. This is a hypothetical example just to give you a ballpark idea of what can potentially happen in terms of account growth over a 60-day period, right? 2% growth on your money on a daily basis. I don't know too many places where you're getting that on your money on a monthly basis, never mind a day. Now, personally, I shoot for between 2 to 5% growth on my account on a daily basis. Sometimes I don't hit it. Sometimes, in fact, I lose. In fact, it was only a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just being totally transparent here. I had a couple of losing weeks where I ended up about 10% down over the course of 2 weeks. A right old kick in the taties, so to speak, but it happens. That's part of the journey that we're going to be embarking on. So 2% on a daily basis is a good target to aim for. It's not being too greedy. Can we make more? Absolutely. That means there's going to be more risk attached to it. Can we lose more? Absolutely, we can. So that's just the nature of the beast we're trading. But 2% I think is a good target to aim for. All right. Like I said, my personal goal is 2 to 5% growth per day. And we'll talk about some rules as we move forward. If you were to shoot for the 5% a day, over on the right-hand side of this chart, obviously the compound changes dramatically. Because if you can hit 5% a day, again, hypothetically, we're looking at over 9 grand on a £500 account. So 2 to 5% window is I think it's a fair crack to aim for. But like I said, it's not guaranteed it's going to happen every day. It's not going to guarantee that it's going to happen to the T anyway. This is, like I said, all hypothetical stuff. On a £1,000 account, same again. You know, the numbers are at the bottom of the screen if you want to take a look. And then I did it on a 5 grand account as well. So, like I said, we're not taking this as gospel. This is what I'm going to do in the next 60 days. This is just giving you an idea. If you apply some discipline, some realistic targets, that you've got like a ballpark idea of what could potentially be achieved. So this is where this stuff comes into play, because to achieve the stuff we've just been talking about, you've got to have rules. You can't just come in like, thinking you've walked into the casino and you're just going to start scattering cash about and fucking hoping you're going to hit the jackpot. It's just not realistic. So these are my personal rules. These aren't me saying you must adhere to these rules, but what I can assure you is the more that you focus on having discipline and rules in place, and the more that you adhere to the rules, the more enjoyable the journey is going to be. I don't want to say easier or more successful because nothing's guaranteed, but I do want to say it's going to make the process a lot better for you and more enjoyable. Now, applying the rules, talking about the rules and applying them are two fucking totally different things, because it's an emotional game. But the sooner you can get, your act together on this side of your trading, the better things will likely turn out for you. So rule number one, these are just my personal rules. I'm going to run them past you. You can take exactly what I do, or you can implement your own, but adherence to whatever rules you put in place is going to be the key to your long-term success. So rule number one for me, never enter without a stop loss. And I've done this in the past. This is why it's become one of my core rules, because I've done it in the past and I've been smacked right in the nose, so to speak, or slapped right around the ass and been battered by the market by simply forgetting to put stop loss on or getting distracted. And before I know it, I've come back, I've been hundreds of pounds down on my account, not knowing what to do. Shall I ride it out? Shall I close it off? So you end up in a fucking situation what is not ideal. So as soon as you've entered a trade, a buy or a sell, you're going to then put in a stop loss. And based on the stuff I told you at the beginning, this is what I would normally do. If I enter the market immediately, I'm going to then go and put a stop loss 100 pips away from where I entered. So let's just go back to the beginning. If I entered at $2,000 and I'm looking for a buy, so that means I want price to go higher than $2,000, I would put my stop loss at 1990 because that would be 100 pips below where I entered the market. So if price were to drop down and hit 1990, it would bring me out of the market and I would lose X amount of money based on my lot size. All right. So that's why having a stop loss in place is really important, because that's the only friend you're going to have when it comes to the markets. It's the only thing that's going to protect your ass if things go wrong. So get a stop loss in immediately when you've entered a trade. Trading on a poor mental attitude, or you've had some bad news, an argument, something's gone wrong at work, however it looks, where you're not in the right place mentally, trading in that mindset is a recipe for disaster, because you'll start making decisions you wouldn't normally make. You'll start trading in a way that you wouldn't normally trade. You'll start taking risks, doing things that you wouldn't normally do. So that can put you in a position of being in danger of, losing money. It's already a risky game as it is. We don't want to put ourselves in a riskier spot by trying to trade in a negative frame of mind. Rule number three, once you've hit your daily target, stop trading. So we get instructions that will come through all day from probably 6 a.m. until maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. on a night. Them instructions and signals are going to keep coming all day. And there's the real potential that you might get FOMO. So if you hit your percentage target for the day, 2, 3, 4, 5%, whatever it is, just put the app on mute. Where the signals come through, mute it, forget about it, get on with the rest of your day. And the same goes for rule number 4, but it's just the opposite direction. If you hit a certain percentage loss on a daily basis, if I lose 5% in a day, I'm done. The app's on mute and I'm done. What some people have started doing within the community, if they've if they've hit their loss for the day, but they want to keep trading, they will keep trading, but on a demo account. I mean, for me, there's just no point in doing that, because if you start picking up wins after that, it'll just piss you off even more. So for me, if I'm at my percentage target for the day, I'm done. If I'm at my percentage loss for the day, I'm done. And I'm happy to crack on with the rest of my day. And as I said, they're the apps that you're going to need to download there. So that's just a few bits I like to cover with new starters all the time, just to get you off on the right foot. Because I can't emphasize enough, when you come into this, there's a real opportunity to make some good money and change your circumstances. However that looks, we're all in a different position. We've all got different desires, so to speak. But if you're willing to put yourself in a position of discipline, rules, having the right mentality and mindset towards it, trying to be as disengaged as you can be to the emotional side of it. That's easier said than done, by the way. But the sooner you can get your emotions in check, or in a better balance, the better the experience will be for you. So just bear that one in mind, guys. I'm going to cut the video off now, the recording. If anybody's got any questions who's watching this back, just come directly at me through, whatever channel you're watching this on. Come back to me and I'll answer any questions that you've got.